Your high school just sold you out. But the massive corporate entity that orchestrated the entire operation finally got caught, and it's going to cost them exactly $17.25 million in what might be just the most satisfying collapse of an educational surveillance empire in internet history. And yeah, this one is personal to me because Naviance, I had to use this tool throughout high school for my college applications. And even I got an email saying that I was part of the suit. So my personal data is out there. So yeah, this one is personal right here. For years, students across the United States, including me, have been completely forced by their school districts to log into a platform called Naviance, like I said. It is aggressively marketed as a wholesome mandatory college and career readiness tool designed by Hobsons and later acquired by a massive edtech monopoly known as PowerSchool. You probably remember your guidance counselor forcing you to take personality quizzes, research universities, and also input your most sensitive academic goals into the specific website just so you could graduate or send out your transcript. I had to do this wasted my time and it was so annoying. But while millions of teenagers were dutifully typing in their private hopes and dreams into Naviance, they had absolutely no idea that the platform was actually secretly operating as a massive invisible data harvesting machine. This was not a tool built to help you. It was a system built to completely commodify your identity. The illusion of the helpful high school portal has just officially shattered because pretty much a massive nationwide class action lawsuit just exposed the terrifying reality of what was actually happening beneath the surface of the code. We're talking about the total non-consensual interception of highly sensitive confidential student communications affecting upwards of 10 million kids, including me. This wasn't some dark web hacker hacking into the Naviance servers. Instead, this was the platform itself operating as intentional spyware right under the noses of teachers, parents, and school administrators who blindly trusted the software. The facade is finally crumbling. The lawsuit has reached a pretty devastating conclusion, and the era of schools forcing students into digital tracking traps has just suffered a lethal blow that will completely change the internet. To truly understand the sheer scale of this betrayal, we have to look at the exact mechanism of how this surveillance was actually executing in the background every single time a student simply tried to do stuff on Naviance. The lawsuit, officially known as QJ versus PowerSchool Holdings LLC, revealed that Naviance was allegedly embedded with highly intrusive third-party analytics tools and tracking pixels from massive data brokers and tech giants, including Heap Inc., Google, Microsoft, and Hotjar. Whenever a student logged into the platform, these hidden trackers, what they would do, they would immediately begin intercepting an astonishing amount of deeply personal data. We're talking about student names, identification numbers, graduation years, demographic information, so much more, photographs, private surveys, responses, and every single click or keystroke made while navigating the college advising portal. The attorneys representing the students, well, they did not hold back in their legal filings, arguing that these shadow data collection practices literally amounted to unlawful wiretapping and illegal eavesdropping, completely violating the Electronic Communications Privacy Act, the California Invasion of Privacy Act, and also I believe the Illinois Eavesdropping Act. Imagine being a teenager sitting inside your classroom completely unaware that the mandatory school assignment you are completing or a survey is actively transmitting your psychological profile and also personal identification to massive advertising networks. And the most dystopian part of this entire operation is that the tracking was completely baked into the infrastructure of the website by design. The platform was essentially bugged. EdTech companies have spent the last decade trying to convince school boards that they absolutely need to digitalize every single damn aspect of the learning experience. But the $17 million lawsuit proves that the true motivation was always data extraction. They don't care about the kids. They transformed the sacred, protected space of a classroom into a lucrative digital surveillance economy, and they did it by exploiting the mandatory nature of public education. The origin of this massive systemic collapse started with actually a single student from the Chicago public school system, known in the court documents simply as QJ, who filed the initial complaint in August of 2023, sparking a legal firestorm that has now engulfed school districts nationwide. Because Naviance is used so universally across the country, like I said, I had to use it. This localized lawsuit rapidly ballooned into a massive nationwide class action settlement affecting anyone who logged into the platform between August 8, 2021 and January of this year. And right now in April, school districts across the nation, probably including my school district, they are actively panicking, desperately sending out things like damage control emails to thousands of angry parents who just received legal notices in the mail. My parents were actually not too happy when they saw the email. These school administrators are frantically trying to explain that their local servers were not technically hacked by outside actors, completely missing the point that the software they purposefully purchased and forced upon their students was the actual spyware all along. It completely destroys the trust but verify vendor governance model that these districts claim to operate under. Students legally cannot opt out of using these platforms. I literally had to use this platform if I wanted my counselor to send my transcript to colleges. That's how crazy it was. Or if they want to participate in the modern education system, for example, meaning that they were being forced into a situation where pretty much their fundamental right to digital privacy was completely stripped away by the very institutions meant to protect them. The sheer panic radiating from these school boards is very palpable, because parents are finally waking up to the reality that educational technology is largely unregulated and fundamentally dangerous. The fact that a single high school student from Chicago managed to trigger a chain reaction that brought a multi-million-dollar edtech monopoly to its knees is the exact kind of systemic accountability that proves that the surveillance state can actually be defeated when people fight back. The actual punishment and the strict terms of the final settlement agreement represents a very satisfying humiliation defeat for PowerSchool and the broader data harvesting industry. Not only did the defendants agree to establish a massive $17.25 million settlement fund to pay out the millions of students whose privacy was violated, but the court completely dismantled their ability to track students moving forward. So while PowerSchool continues to formally, deny liability, using the classic corporate excuse that they settle merely to avoid the expense and distraction of ongoing litigation, the legal mandates forced upon them tell a completely different story. Within 30 days of the final judgment, PowerSchool is legally ordered to establish a strict web governance committee, and they are completely banned for the next 2 years from using any analytics or advertising software provided by Heap, Google, Microsoft, or Hotjar anywhere on the Naviance platform. But the absolute best part of this legal victory is the data purge. Upon the entry of the final judgment, PowerSchool is legally obliged to instruct all of those massive third-party tech giants to permanently delete all primary data and communications harvested from the class members within 10 days. The court is literally forcing Google and Microsoft to wipe the stolen student profiles from their servers. And furthermore, PowerSchool has to display a massive prominent banner on the Naviance landing page publicly acknowledging their new privacy commitments. And this is serving as a permanent badge of shame and a daily reminder to every single student that the company was caught and heavily punished. This isn't just a minor slap on the wrist or a simple financial penalty. It is a lot more than that. It is a systemic restructuring of the entire platform mandated by the federal court system, completely ripping out all the spyware architecture that made the software so profitable in the first place. This monumental $1 million collapse is not an isolated incident. It is the tipping point in the absolute death of the educational spyware era. Like for years, the bubble has expanded aggressively, using the pandemic as an excuse to inject highly invasive tracking software, AI chatbots, and all sorts of just slop into every single classroom in the United States. But the walls are finally closing in on this whole saga and this whole unregulated empire. Like we are witnessing massive organized pushback from students, parents, and privacy advocates who are done with corporations treating children like digital commodities. Like, yeah, that's a lot. And it's kind of ironic because they always say things improve in schools when you graduate, and this suit finally happens right as I'm about to graduate in 2 months. So yeah, that's kind of funny. But yeah, that's it for this video. This one actually was kind of personal because my data was out there by now. So hopefully Google deletes that stuff. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Have a good day.